I wanted to start with this. Do you, I'm asking you, Scotty, and listeners, you could play along as well. Do you have like a drink, some kind of booze that you used to drink a lot, but then one time you either took it too far or something happened and it didn't end well, and
Yes, sir.
now you can't even like look at it anymore?
Yep.
What is yours?
Tequila.
Okay. So you can't have any kind of tequila?
I could do a shot or two, but if I'm sitting there like all day long, I'll be naked in like 8 minutes.
So I learned very early on that like bad tequila is a problem, but
Yes,
good tequila
yes.
I can do well with.
Like Quavo, that crap. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah.
If it's yellow, yeah. Mine though is Southern Comfort. I used to have a shot of Southern Comfort, multiple shots of Southern Comfort. It was great, and then I had a terrible experience, and it was I can't even look at the bottle anymore because it like I could
Brings
start
back
to feel the
the tingle.
yes. I'm like, oh, it doesn't look good. And so what happens is we get scarred by these environments. You probably have a food that did the same thing. You probably ate something you eaten it a thousand times.
Or a restaurant. Or
Yeah,
something
a
like
restaurant.
that.
You're like, I ate there
Yeah.
1,000 times, but one time went bad and it's just no good. And it sticks in your mind. I think that happens with athletes a lot. And I'm going to talk about a couple current ones and maybe one past one to make my point. I'll talk about the past one first. I was watching Mark Sanchez on TV the other day because he does a lot of work with Fox with football now. And if I said to you, Mark Sanchez, what's the first thing you think?
Butt fumble.
Butt fumble, right? Like it's instantaneous. You can't even help it. You think butt fumble. And you totally forget the fact that Mark Sanchez went to back-to-back AFC championship games with the Jets. Like, hello, the Jets. It's one thing that the Jets went to back-to-back, like, but it was with Mark Sanchez. We totally disregard that ever happened. And we think of Mark Sanchez as a failure because of the butt fumble, right? The bad taste in our mouth from the butt fumble. We do this with current, but you could say this about Jay Cutler. We've seen Jay Cutler, either whether it's the look on his face or the way that he walks, and it just rubs us the wrong way, like he just doesn't care. But if you actually go look at him statistically, in some of the years with Denver and a few of the years really with Chicago, there were some monster years, like monster years. But we disregard that because we see the stoic look on his face, almost of like disregard, doesn't even care, and we let that bad taste overwhelm. We have a couple players now that we do the same thing. Carson Wentz is one of them. I don't know that you'll ever in your lifetime, as long I should say, I don't know if you'll ever in the rest of his career be able to see him play or see his name. What do you got? Some car racing going on over there?
Yeah, it looks that way. I got the green 11 for the for anyone betting at home.
I don't think you'll be able to see his name or watch him play without thinking of that kind of pass interception thing that he just did this past weekend.
Oh my God!
Right? And if you look at the two games he's played against Tennessee, he's got like a 62 quarterback rating, which is it's terrible. It's god awful. But if you look at the other games, he's thrown every other game that he's played that's not against Tennessee, one interception and like 17 touchdowns.
And it's not like the Titans or the 85 Bears.
Exactly. And a passer rating over 100. Okay, you could say the same thing with Sam Darnold. I believe Carolina just lost this past weekend, right? Like,
No, they won.
Oh, they did win.
They came back and beat Atlanta.
That's correct. They did come back and won. But we look at Sam Darnold. We talked about it last week. Sam is Sam, right? Sam is Sam. He does what Sam does the turnovers and everything. Do you know that so that's in our head. That bad taste is in our head, and we can't let it go. Do you know that Sam Darnold had the highest quarterback rating on Pro Football Focus last week? Now, you can skew numbers and you can say, well, it doesn't necessarily. Even if you don't think he was the best player last week at quarterback, his numbers just showed that he was one of. You could at least say one of.
Sure.
But we have that taste in our mouth of that one thing, and we just think of Sam as reckless, throw the ball away, fumble.
Benched.
Yes. But we think of those things, and we let it skew everything else that we see. Like the fact that he has like 7 rushing touchdowns this year, that we forget about that. I don't even think Lamar Jackson has as many rushing touchdowns as Sam Darnold, which is freaking crazy, right? So my point of this is just to say, because we're kind of doing that in the opposite with Patrick Mahomes. We have the taste in our mouth that is good. And it's like, well, this guy's great, Super Bowls, back-to-back Super Bowls, 3 straight AFC championship games, the sidearm throw, everything, all these great bright flavors and everything looks great, right? And it's almost like we refuse to acknowledge that right now he's playing horrible. Like, he's just not playing well. All the turnovers, all the things that we liked, the jump tosses, they're not working now. And it's almost like we refuse to acknowledge, not us, we've talked about it, but anywhere else you look, because they don't like to talk the truth, it's like you refuse to acknowledge that he's playing just terribly. Like, one of the worst. He's got the most turnovers of any quarterback in the NFL right now. Like, you can say what you want. It doesn't mean he's never going to be great again, but so many people are so stuck on who he was.
Did you hear what Dan Orlovsky said?
No, what did he say?
You see, he's got the worst mechanics by far out of any quarterback in the league right now, and he's dead ass right.
Of course he is, but he always has been. He always has had terrible mechanics. But it worked because he's such a special talent.
Yeah, but there's something different with your eyes just watching him this year.
Okay,
like he's like if you give Tom Brady 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards of clip, they go 80 yards, touchdown, boom. Mahomes could do that 2-3 plays, and then all of a sudden he wants to go for the 70-yard bomb.
Right.
He can't. Somewhere in the back of his mind, he feels like he's got to make an explosive play every drive. We don't have to do that all the time.
Well, I thought about that too, and I said, let me look into what's going on here. And, you hear like the discussion is that like what they're doing against Kansas City right now is they're playing a cover 2, like the old Tampa 2, where they're playing deep.
Yep.
And they're going to let Kansas City, get short passes.
Yeah.
And they'll let you do that. But the other thing that you're supposed to be able to do against cover 2 is you're supposed to be able to run the football. And this is the one thing that Kansas City is not really doing well now that they have in the past. Not that they were a running team, but they could run the ball when they wanted to. The New England Patriots were famous for this, right? Like, you got Tom Brady, they're throwing the shit out of the ball. But it was at the end of the game when they needed to run the ball, when they needed a first down, when they needed to run some clock. They always had the running game to go to when they needed it or when they wanted it. And what Kansas City does not have now is a running game when they want it and when or really when they need it also. And that means play action doesn't mean shit, and you can play these softer coverages. See, if there's a running game, you have to commit more men to the box, and then you can get over the top of that.
Exactly.
You can't do that right now, so you can't run and you can't get over the top, and Mahomes gets very frustrated with that, and he's having a hard time with that, on top of the fact that his mechanics are shit. But his mechanics were always shit. That's not anything new. They were always bad, but he's just so goddamn talented that he was able to work past that, overcome that, because he's got a cannon, can do all these great things. But I really do believe it's because they don't have a run, whether it's a running back, new offensive line, which is something that we've talked about multiple times. But between those two things, this is what's going on here. But it's also like we can't. It's so many people that are unwilling to say Patrick Mahomes is playing like shit. No, he's playing terrible, dude. He's playing terrible. There may be multiple reasons why, but he's playing bad.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it.